so welcome to the Triathlon Finish Line, the Sprint Triathlon Finish Line training program. And today our topic is going to be about nutrition, because that is the foundation of your energy. And if your nutrition isn't really dialed in for the sport of triathlon, there's a good chance that you might end up feeling a little bit more fatigued than you necessarily have to. If you are eating well and timing your nutrition correctly. So I just want to go over general nutrition before we get into pre and post training nutrition, and then what to train with. General nutrition, I'm a big fan of real food. Okay, so what does that mean? Real food means proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, not refined food. So if you want to think about it in the terms of how far your food has traveled from its original source. So an apple, awesome, right? Pick it from the tree. It does go to the store, but then you eat it, right? So something that has traveled farther and been processed more, pasta, right? Or rice, right? Both of those products have been put into a box and then a plastic bag inside a box and could potentially stay on a shelf for a few years, and you might not know it, and you would eat it and think that you're getting a nutritious food, but it's really not much nutrition in there at all. And when you do eat foods like that, it actually takes your body more energy to break down the food and get energy out of the food than if it's just coming from its original source, okay? So that's just something to think about and keep in mind. The other thing is just thinking about the ratio of protein, fats to carbs. So protein is definitely not the best source of an energy food, but we definitely need it for our brains and for our muscles and to repair any breakdown from training we have. It really helps stabilize the blood sugar. And if you're feeling like you have brain fog, it could be that you're just not eating enough protein and fat. Fat is definitely so important to us and our nutrition, and it has been demonized, since the 60s when fat was taken out of the diet. There is a direct correlation with the increase in Alzheimer's, diabetes, and obesity when fat was taken out of our food. We need fat, and you need cholesterol as well. So that's just something that you might not be aware of, but it's something that if you can train your body how to burn fat as a fuel source by eating more fat, you will actually have more endurance and more energy and less blood sugar spikes. So it's well worth including some good fats in your diet. So I'm actually coming out with an immune boosting little PDF that's going to include like all these amazing foods, but honestly, it's not just for immune boosting. It's basically for eating healthy. And avocados, raw nuts, coconut oil, olives, those are all on my list for healthy fats. And then healthy proteins would be any wild caught fish or shrimp. Grass-fed beef is really good for you, has so many good hormones in it that you need actually as a triathlete. And then also any kind of free-range poultry is the best. Organic as much as possible. I mean, you got to think about what happens when a cow is born in our country. They are literally born and they have a thing of antibiotics injecting into one ear nonstop and a thing of growth hormone injecting into the other ear nonstop. And then they grow up in 3 months when it's supposed to take them like 2 years. And then you either eat that or drink the milk. And then you wonder why you have, you're growing exponentially because you're eating all of the growth hormone that the cow was injected with. So, grass-fed organic is definitely the way to go for protein. So carbohydrates are last on my list, right? Simply because carbohydrates, you really need to be smart about your choices. Root vegetables are your best choice of carbohydrate, okay? What's a root vegetable? A carrot, right? Sweet potatoes, white potatoes can potentially be okay, but they do process really quickly in the body. So if you want a longer lasting carbohydrate, using a sweet potato or a root vegetable, any squashes like butternut squash is a great source of energy. And if you're not sure how to prepare them, Google it or go on YouTube. There are so many ways, healthy ways to prepare these foods. And my goal is over the summer to create, I'll be having a little recipe book. I already have a few recipes on my blog, so you can go check those out for healthy sweet treats and stuff like that. Now, you notice you didn't hear me say a lot of anything about fruit. Fruit is definitely not something that people think fruit is so healthy and you need to eat tons of fruit, but it actually is still sugar. And I just came out with a blog yesterday about sugar is sugar is sugar. So if you eat fruit all day, it makes your body burn carbohydrates because fruit is sugar. And then you end up wanting more sugar all the time because you eat sugar, your blood sugar spikes, it comes down, and you want to feel that high again. So then you want more sugar. You actually crave the sugar, right? So think about less sugarful fruits. You want to think about berries have less sugar, but are very nutritious. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Those are my go-to fruits if I'm craving something sweet. Bananas actually have a lot of sugar in them, but they're great for training instead of sports nutrition. Bananas are great for training if you're trying to stay away from sports nutrition. But if you're trying to lose weight, bananas have a lot of sugar in them. Timing your bananas properly is the key. But honestly, a big bowl of ice cream made from Haagen-Dazs versus a frozen treat of ice cream, banana ice cream that you made yourself with your own frozen organic bananas is way healthier, okay? So you kind of have to like pick and choose and make decisions based on, nutrition as opposed to the source. Always think about the source, like we talked about a minute ago. Okay, so that's general nutrition in a nutshell. Like, I can't really go into depth. I do have a nutrition program if you guys are interested. A couple of you guys are actually in that program and are seeing some amazing results with improved energy and weight loss and more muscle and getting leaner. So that is available to you as an add-on if you are interested, and I'm happy to go over that at the end. But let's talk about timing your nutrition. So pre-training, post-training. There's a couple of caveats. If you're trying to teach your body how to burn fat as a fuel source, then before workouts, especially if they're low intensity workouts, meaning you're not breathing too hard, you're not doing intervals, you're staying aerobic, you really don't need to necessarily eat before a workout. I know that's kind of hard to believe and oh my gosh, but there's a caveat there. So if you go and you do a workout and you feel terrible, that means you're not ready. You're not burning your body's own fat yet. So you might need a little help. And what I suggest is actually taking a little bit of fat or protein, not a carbohydrate, like not eating that banana before you go work out, but having a hard-boiled egg or scrambled eggs before you work out. That's fat and protein, a little bit of carbohydrate, but not much. And that will actually be free floating in your bloodstream. And if your body is needing some energy, it's gonna pick fat and protein to burn, okay? So that's a way to teach your body how to burn fat as a fuel source as opposed to carbs, okay? So let's do a little bit of a exercise physiology here. So we didn't go over this in the beginning, but 1 gram of fat gives you 9 calories of energy. 1 gram of protein and carbohydrate give you 4 calories of energy. So naturally, choosing fat as a fuel source and teaching your body how to burn fat as a fuel source is essential as an endurance athlete, which is what triathlon is. The other thing is right now, every single person, every one of us on this call has between 40,000 and 60,000 calories of fat to burn, okay? It's just a fact. And we have about 1,800 to maybe 2,400 calories of carbohydrates to burn, glycogen in our muscle. So we always want to, have those glycogen stores be ready if we need them, but we really want to be tapping into our fat stores as much as possible. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so getting back to pre and post and during training. So pre-training, I'm not a big fan of a big carbohydrate dump or having a gel. Gels are just really not nutritious. I mean, I can speak from experience that I got really, really sick on sports nutrition and eating too many carbohydrates. I had extreme adrenal fatigue for about 18 months just because I ate everything organic. I was super healthy, I thought, but I had, organic pasta, organic pizza, organic whole wheat bread. I ate cereal for breakfast and for dessert every day. So I wasn't aware of the nutrient density piece of things, and I didn't realize that I had gluten intolerance. And gluten intolerance doesn't always mean that you have an upset stomach when you eat it. It could show up in the form of fatigue or a headache or brain fog. So I'm a big fan of no gluten, no matter if you think you're gluten intolerant or not. I'm a fan of eliminating it and then reintroducing it and just see if you feel anything. And most likely you will. Because a lot of the population really is gluten intolerant, believe it or not. But anyway, so pre-workout, choose fat or protein, right? A half of an avocado, a slice of smoked salmon, great pre-workout. But if you're trying to lose weight or teach your body how to burn fat, don't eat anything, okay? Or have 5 perfect aminos. So the perfect aminos are the ones I recommend. You can buy them on my website, or you can go to bodyhealth.com. But they are an amazing way to stabilize the blood sugar, put a little something into your system so you don't feel so depleted, and then still be able to do a workout. Okay, so that's pre-workout. During your workout, rule of thumb, if your workout is less than an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how much you're able to burn your own fat, you can actually get away with nothing during your workout. And that includes water. But in Miami, I kind of recommend water with a pinch of sea salt or any other kind of electrolytes, you know, every 10 minutes while you're riding or running, or on the side of the pool, okay, in your water bottle. But food-wise, you really honestly don't need anything to eat while you're training if you're training like less than an hour, okay? It's kind of individual. When you hit that hour to hour 30 mark, you might be able to make it an hour 30 and feel fine. But other people go to 1:15 and they're already like running out of gas, right? So until you teach yourself how to burn fat as a fuel source, which you automatically have all those reserves, right? You might want to have a little something, but that's where you can have the banana while you're working out, right? While you're actually moving, you can choose a food that actually breaks down easily while you're moving. And if you're going to choose a gel, don't have it before, have it during, and choose one that will give you a little bit more nutrients in the form of like better ingredients. Okay, so there are organic gels out there that have like organic brown rice syrup or tapioca sugar, or just not plain old sugar. A good one I like right now is made with maple syrup. Okay, so organic maple syrup is a great energy source that's super easy to absorb. And then there's also a gel called Huma gels that I like. And base products, actually we get discounts on base products, and I actually haven't tried their gels yet, but they have organic gels. So I'm looking forward to trying those as I get back into training. Okay, so that's during, okay? And then if you have a long workout, so if you know you're gonna be out there more than an hour, and you're gonna be out there like an hour and a half, you need to eat about 40 minutes in to make it to the hour and a half. And then you need to go, if you're gonna be out there longer, like 2 hours or 3 hours, you need to consistently eat something every 35 to 45 minutes. So that was during, so every 40 minutes during, okay? That's just gonna help you not run out of gas. And sometimes people will say, oh, they'll be like out there for 2.5 hours and they wonder why they're like dragging home, right, on their bikes and stuff like that. So it's definitely important to keep up with the hydration, a drink every 10 minutes. If you're gonna be out there longer too, I do actually recommend at least like some kind of a sports drink as well. Vitargo is one of my favorite sports drinks. It's made with sweet potato starch, so it's very healthy. And it has one ingredient, right? It doesn't have a lot of stuff in there. So that's kind of my favorite choice. And I get unflavored, and then I'll add the perfect aminos that has a little bit of stevia and flavoring. That's a little bit healthier choice. Just check the ingredients of all the stuff that you're eating and just look at it and say, does that look, you know, like I should be eating that every single day in my sports drink? And then you can make your own decisions about that, okay? And then post-workout is super duper important, right? If you don't want to be dragging by 4 p.m. from waking up in the morning and doing a workout and working all day, you got to eat right away after you train, okay? So I recommend 10 aminos, right? It's the easiest thing to do. They're so clean, they're so safe. You get 20 grams of protein right in the body, and it helps curb your appetite so you don't eat the house when you get back from your training session, right? Or you just don't have that famished feeling, and you will actually feel way better later in the day. So 10 aminos is the equivalent of 20 grams of protein. So that's your wham bam recovery right away. And then you can also eat your aminos with a piece of fruit, right? Or I'll have my 10 aminos and then I'll fix my super green smoothie, which has tons of amazing ingredients like spinach, and I'll actually put a banana in there, chia seeds, coconut milk, coconut water. The ingredients of my super green smoothie is also on my blog. So that's my rule for post-workout. You know, right away, those 10 aminos, and then 20 minutes later, you can have a normal meal, spinach and eggs, if it's early in the morning, spinach and eggs and a side of avocado, right? Sprinkled with a little hemp hearts. Or you could have a super green smoothie, like I just mentioned, or you could have smoked salmon and the avocado, or, you know, eggs and bacon. Totally fine, right? Organic as much as possible. All right, cool. So here are some of the new products from, this is the Perfect Aminos. I don't know if you guys can see that. Might be too. Yeah, Perfect Amino. So this is from my website. You can purchase if you're local. If you're not local, go directly to the bodyhealth.com website and put in the word Full Circle, and you'll get a discount on top of any of the discounts they already give you. They give a ton of great discounts. They just came out with this new electrolyte drink, which only has 3 ingredients, and it tastes really good. It doesn't like taste fake or artificial, but clean water, nothing replaces clean water. Clean, filtered, ideally spring water is the way you want to go. And then this is the Vitargo I mentioned. It's got a V. You can get it on Amazon. This is a flavored one. They gave us a bunch of samples. I don't like the flavoring. You know, I just am particular about that, but a lot of my athletes like the flavoring. I just get the plain, and then I use the Body Health with the stevia, and it's like a little bit of a berry flavor. So play with it. But these products have way less crapola in them than, like, say, Gatorade, which has artificial dyes and flavorings and everything that's synthetic. These products, I believe in 100%. Dr. Minkoff, who has designed all his products, he's done over 40 Ironmans. He's like amazing. So I love all his stuff. Roasted almonds, roasted nuts can be a little bit of a negative thing just because they get denatured when you cook them. So a nut is mostly made up of fat, and it does have some protein, but as soon as it gets roasted, it actually becomes denatured and becomes rancid. So it's actually not the healthiest fats. So have you've heard of omega-3s and omega-6s, omega-9s? You really don't want to have too many of the omega-6s and 9s, which is roasted and more denatured fats. So I would stick with raw nuts as much as possible. You can get them so they're sprouted, meaning take raw nuts and then sprout them just a little bit, and then you can put them in the oven on a really low heat, like 135, to make them a little bit crunchy. Does that make sense?
I have a question about fruits, because you mentioned fruits, but is it better in the morning, in the afternoon? Should we avoid them because of sugar?
Yeah. So fruit, like I said, is high in sugar, right? So if you're eating fruit all day long, that's a lot of sugar. So choosing lower sugar fruit like apples, pears, and berries is the way to go. And try to have them more in the morning than at night. But honestly, like I said, if you have a choice at night to have a big candy bar or a big bowl of like ice cream with chocolate sauce all over it, or you could have banana ice cream with a couple of, you know, organic chocolate chips, that's still a better choice, even though it's not the, you know, having sugar at night is not the best choice, right? So you can kind of play with it, but fruit is always a better choice than any kind of a processed refined sugar. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And then what about cereals? So provided they're good organic cereals and everything, or like oatmeal, is that a good choice for a morning breakfast, or is it better to go with like eggs and?
Yeah. So cereal is a non-food. There's no nutrients in cereal. Okay. Unfortunately, it's $1 billion industry. If you look in the grocery store, it's an entire lane of the whole grocery store. It has 2 rows of just cereal, right? So I feel the dog is barking. So yeah, and there's no nutrients in there at all. Don't even go down that aisle. Okay, so Cheerios, or even organic Cheerios, there's no nutrient in them. So what they do is they put the label on the box and it says fortified with vitamins. That means they add synthetic vitamins. They spray on synthetic vitamins at the end of the baking process. So that's how they can say that it's immune boosting and fortified with vitamins, but it's really not true. Okay, so when you make a cereal, it takes the wheat or the whatever the grain is, and they mix it great, you know, they pulverize it and they heat it to a really high heat, and then they put it through this machine that makes the shapes, the circles, the whatever, and what that's called extruding it. And when it goes through that high heat process, all the nutrients go away. So basically you're eating dead food, and I would completely take it out of your diet, and I would not be giving it to your kids if you can help it, right? So little pieces of fruit, you know, or don't do the rules about the fruit for the kids. That's okay. They can have fruit, but carrots, celery, anything that peas, you know, anything that they can be eating that's a fruit or a vegetable as opposed to a cereal is way, way, way better. Okay.
But is it the same for granolas or?
Yeah, so granola is one of the highest sugar things you can eat. It's like worse, too much sugar. However, there is a few brands at Whole Foods and online that are only nuts. So they're made with almonds, walnuts, cashews, and chia seeds, and they use dried cranberries. Great. That's a great healthy. You can make your own. The one I like, her name is Veronica. It's called Veronica's, and it's she's a triathlete. And they actually sell it at Whole Foods, and it has the lowest amount of sugar. Like, she doesn't add sugar in, she just uses the sugar from the fruit to sweeten it. Unfortunately, in most of the granolas, they add honey, and they add a lot of, there is dried fruit. Dried fruit has more sugar than regular fruit. So just eat it sparingly as a treat, but try to find the whole nut ones. And then if you like oatmeal, if you like that porridge type of breakfast or a treat, you make some chia seed pudding. Or I have a recipe on my website that's called Better Than Oatmeal. And it mixes chia seeds and hemp hearts, which have a lot more protein and fat and nutrients in them. And I make it the same way as I make oatmeal, but it's just loaded with more nutrients. Okay. And the recipe's all in there. All right. Okay, cool.
So no oatmeal at all. I mean, even if, like, I sometimes make like a batch of steel cut oats, just plain, and then with nothing in it.
Right. So think about, where do you get your oatmeal?
Where I buy it?
Yeah, like, so it's in a box or a bag, right?
Right.
And how long has it been there?
Yeah.
Potentially a long time, because it's very shelf stable. So there's not, okay, so when a nut or like a chia seed or the hemp hearts, after a month, you can't eat them anymore because they go bad. They're rancid. You taste it, oh, you throw that away. It goes bad. That's not the same for oatmeal, right? So yeah, the reason why the steel cut oatmeal, gluten-free, please, gluten-free steel cut oatmeal is good is because it has a ton of fiber. But I would rather you be getting your fiber because you're eating so many good vegetables like spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. That's all the fiber you need. You don't need to add fiber in the form of that kind of old oatmeal. You know, it just turns into brown mush in your body. And again, there's really no nutrients in it. And I'm sorry if some of this stuff like kind of really rocks what you think about, but just test it for yourself. See how much more energy you get from eating a bowl of the chia seed pudding or the other, the more nutrient dense food than your oatmeal. You're going to feel the difference, right? It's just more information coming in, giving your body more nutrients. All right, Jesse, you have any questions?
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on honey.
Okay, so I replied to you on the blog as well, and I actually just listened to I listened to an interesting person who's a very a healthy wellness person. But okay, so one thing is honey. You got to make sure you're getting your honey from a really clean source. So directly from the hive is the best, right? So if you can find someone local to get your honey from, that's going to be the best thing, because a lot of the honeys that you buy that are generic brands, they actually mix them with other things that are not honey just to make it go longer, right? So it's a little more runny and it's not really pure, organic, raw honey. So rule of thumb, get raw honey. I prefer when the honey is raw and you can't see through it. Okay, so that means the nutrients from the hive is in the honey. It's going to give you a little bit more nutrient density. It actually has a little bit of bacteria fighting property as well. Manuka honey, it's like super expensive because it's so fortified with bacteria killing enzymes. But honey is sugar, right? So it doesn't matter, like you're having that big thing of honey at night, with your tea and stuff like that. So just try to reduce it and think about switching to just a squeeze of lemon in your tea, right? It can be just a little bit, and I mean, I know you don't eat a ton of sugar throughout the day, but having a thing of sugar at night before you go to bed, if you are trying to lose that extra, a couple pounds, not the best idea. It's just going to be stored right as fat.
Yeah, I like it on the run or on the bike.
Okay.
Like the-
Yeah, the gel. That's fine. That's totally fine. So he's talking about the honey gel packs. Those are a great source, right? Because it's a little bit healthier than the normal gel. But honestly, I'm not sure where their honey is sourced from. But yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Okay. Yeah, good. All right, you guys, have a great day. Enjoy the beautiful weather, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, you guys. Namaste.